Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Survivor Series 2015, and I really don't know what to say about the pay-per-view. Um, so we'll just go through the matches and we'll see how I really feel about everything. First of all, they started off with Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio. I thought this was a really good match. In every sense of the word, though, you knew where they were going with this. They weren't going to flip the script in any way and try to pull the wool over someone's eyes with this match. You knew Roman Reigns was going to the finals. It was just going to be a matter of how good was the match. And they did a really good job with this match. I thought the two of them worked off of each other really well, and it came off as a really good match and a way to continue the build towards the finals of the finals of later on in the pay-per-view. I like the backstage promo between Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, and then getting interrupted by Kevin Owens, giving a little bit of a tease that, hey, maybe it'll be Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns later that night. Now, leading into the match with Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, again, this match went pretty much the way most people thought it would. It was a really good match, and it led to Dean Ambrose going to the finals later on in the night. Again, really good match between them, but they went with a very predictable route. Again, they didn't really want to shake up the script at all, which, you know, in this case isn't a bad thing. You're expecting a really good match between the two of them later on in the night. So I was okay with that as well. Again, those two matches I thought were really well done. All the guys worked well together, and it set up for what they needed later on in the night. Which, again, you also got another good promo from Reigns and Ambrose after the fact, and then setting up how people were expecting that match to go, and basically what they were kind of teasing throughout the night. It's like, okay, they're playing off this aspect that they're best buds and everything like that, but it feels like, oh, are we going to get that heel turn tonight from one of those two guys? And that was the tension that they were building throughout the entire night. And I'll get to that a little bit later on. Up next, they had another traditional Survivor Series tag team match. This one involved the Usos, the Lucha Dragons, and Ryback versus the New Day, King Barrett, and Sheamus. Yeah, there's just no words to say how funny the New Day are. That was a great promo going to the ring tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I would probably say that was the best part of the match. I won't say the match itself was really bad. It was just kind of easily predictable. You got this whole aspect of, oh, heel team versus face team, and oh yeah, this match wasn't even really advertised in any way, so let's just have the faces win in this case, with minimal losses as well. The Survivor Series matches this year weren't all that necessarily good because they didn't really build any true tension. I was like, oh, this is going to come down to the final two guys one-on-one after the other four had been eliminated from both teams and everything in that aspect. No, it was pretty much very close to clean sweeps for the faces in both of those cases, and in the terms of building a story throughout those matches, they didn't really do all that good of a job here in that case. So it was what it is. It wasn't a bad match by any stretch of the imagination, but no real purpose served here, other than the fact that you got to get the New Day out there, and they were very entertaining again. So that was one good aspect to that towards that side. Up next was Paige versus Charlotte for the Divas title. And, you know, with the way that they built everything through the promos and everything like that, and the way they went with everything later on in the night, or not later on in the night, but on Monday Night Raw and everything, there were times in this match that you felt like, especially right at the beginning, it did build up more on. You figured this match would be a more physical type match, more tension towards everything, more hard hitting. And right at the beginning of the match, you didn't feel like you were going to get that. It did take a turn for the better later on. I thought the two of these divas did a really good job putting on a pretty darn good match here. I know it didn't seem like the fans were fully getting behind everything, and that was probably because of the way it started. It looked like it was just going to start to be like a normal match, but no, the two of them were coming up with some pretty decent spots, and they made it look a little bit more hard hitting towards the end. It looked like it was. It looked like what it should have been. It was two women just kind of duking it out most of the match. It wasn't them, oh, let's put this hold on, then let's put this hold on, or anything like that. It was, okay, I'm gonna hit you on the ring apron, or they were trying to perform harder hitting spots throughout the entire match to make that tension that they built for Monday night actually be relevant throughout the entire thing. I thought this would have been a good way to potentially get some even crazier heat on Paige by having her go over, especially after the comments that she made on Monday Night Raw. But they decided to go against that and having her tap out later in the match, and having Charlotte win and keeping the Divas title here. Nothing really bad about that, but you could have felt like they could have capitalized on the tension and the heat that they built from Monday night, and to try to make it even bigger. It's like, Charlotte, like Paige made these comments about Charlotte's about Charlotte and her family and everything like that. And it's like, let's make the heat even bigger by having her win the match in like some way, and then obviously just laugh and everything like that, going out of the arena, that she got one over on Charlotte and everything like that. But that's not obviously where they were going with it. See if they're going to continue on with Paige and Charlotte down the road here. Yeah, like I said, we'll see where they go with that one. Up next was Tyler Breeze and Dolph Ziggler. I don't like what they're doing with Tyler Breeze. I really don't. I don't like the aspect of Summer being there, and it just doesn't feel like it feels like they're trying to change the character, and it's not necessarily working. Like, they're already getting rid of the aspect of, like, one of the fun aspects to Tyler Breeze's character in NXT, and they kept it for a little bit, but they're already getting rid of it on the main roster. And it could be because of camera positioning and everything like that, but one of the fun aspects was that the area of like the cell phone being on the Titantron, and you could see the entrance, not only him actually entering, but then you can look at the Tron and see the entrance again, in that fashion. And they kept that for a little while, but they're already trying to get rid of that here. The match itself with him and Dolph Ziggler was a really good match, but in the terms of how they're using the character right now on the main roster, it's just kind of I won't say it's not working, but it seems like they're attempting to change it, and it's just not resonating with me like the way that they built the character over on NXT. So we'll see how they're going to continue on with everything. I'm not necessarily liking where they're going with Tyler Breeze right now. Obviously they were going to have him go over in this case, which, what they needed to do. And like I said, the match with him and Dolph was actually pretty darn good, which was what is expected from the two of them in the terms of in-ring work. Up next was the Wyatt family versus Undertaker and Kane. I'm not even going to say anything about the match itself, because they built this around being the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker and everything like that. So the match itself is honestly secondary. It was more about celebrating The Undertaker in this case. And the entrance that they came up with, that was awesome. I liked what they did there. The whole aspect of you even having Kane do his bit to set the fire and everything for the symbols, and then they lower down the coffin and that coffin goes through like all the different variations of the Undertaker through the 25 years and everything like that. That was a well done entrance and a way of celebrating the Undertaker's career and how, it's progressed over the years, like starting right from the first one going to the last variation of the Undertaker. I liked what they did there with the coffin and showing those different areas. The fire setup that they had was really well done. Everything was timed out and executed very, very well. The match itself was just there. That's all it was supposed to be, was just there. The whole aspect of this wasn't about the match. Though they built a pretty good story here and everything, but still, in the end, it was about celebrating the Undertaker's career. And they built a story around that to do that. And then, they went out there and they had the match. Obviously, it wasn't all that long to begin with. Didn't really feel like too much was done. I did like the build going into it. The match itself wasn't all that good. But again, like I said, that wasn't really the full point of this. It was more about celebrating the Undertaker's career in this case, and that was what they were going for. In the terms of how they probably should have booked this match, to put over the new guys, they should have booked the Wyatts to win, but you knew they weren't going to go that route in this case. So, like I said, the match was what it was. But I thoroughly enjoyed the entrance for the Undertaker and everything in that aspect. They did a really good job in producing that, and it came off really cool. So this leads to the main event of the night: Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose for the WWE title. They'd gone through the title tournament and everything. Which I'll go off and say, the match between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, they built this match up as, okay, two friends going at it, and the two of them basically saying, oh, we're it's basically business now, don't worry. And it's like, we'll still be friends afterwards moments, but I'm going to beat the crap out of you. And that's what you got from this match. Really, that is what you got. It was just the two of them going at it the entire time. This was a fun match to watch. They did the way they, like I said, the way they built it through promo was like, hey, when we fight, we're gonna fight. And that was what you got, was just like a downright brawl. You didn't really get a wrestling match in that sense, but you got this interesting looking fight between two friends that wouldn't hold back on each other. They wanted to beat the crap out of each other to win the WWE title, and that's what you got. The interesting aspect to all of this was also, throughout this entire time of them doing it, you got little snippets of tension saying, oh hey, there's going to be a heel turn or something like this, and you didn't get that. You didn't get that here, and that was where I think the match was really good, but the aspect that there was no heel turn is kind of a disappointment in that aspect. And then the aspect of Sheamus being coming out and cashing in afterwards was like, okay, we are still back in status quo, and you kind of built this up as like, oh, change is coming, and you didn't really get anything that was change. A change would have meant a heel turn or something like this. Yeah, okay, new champion means change, I get that, but still, if you're resonating real change, one of, like, Dean Ambrose or Roman Reigns here would have turned heel. And that would have been, it would have been cool. It would have been even better is like if after the match one of them turns heel, like you get this clean victory for, let's say, Roman Reigns, and then Dean Ambrose turns on him, and then Sheamus cashes in. That's actually perfectly acceptable right there. You got that heel turn change there that you needed, and a storyline for down the road. But now you pretty much, you still have Dean Ambrose, you still have Roman Reigns in the face roles, and now you have Sheamus as the WWE champion. Okay, so we're gonna get Roman Reigns and Sheamus down the road here. I did not like the end of this pay-per-view. Basically because they had done it 2 years ago in the exact same fashion with Daniel Bryan as well, with Triple H coming out and everything like that. The only difference is this time Triple H gets hit instead of Triple H knocking out the champion he did not want to begin with. And so Roman Reigns spears Triple H and then gets hit with a Brogue Kick, then the cash in and everything like that happened. But still pretty much same story that they did a couple years ago at not at Survivor Series, but at SummerSlam with Daniel Bryan. You've kind of seen this one before, and I mean, you've seen heel turns as well in the past, plenty of them. But I feel like the heel turn would have been a little bit more interesting here than, oh, the two of them duked it out like they said they were going to do. They remained friends and everything in that aspect. You would have figured they could have gone that route of a heel turn here. That was what most people were looking for. And you went predictable most of the night. And most people were predicting a heel turn. And then you go with probably you try to flip the script on this area, and you probably flip the script in this area with probably not the best way of doing it. So, I mean, we'll see where they go with everything. Like I said, I feel that a heel turn would have been a lot better here. But, you know, it is what it is. And we'll see where they go with everything down the road. I did not thoroughly enjoy the ending of the pay-per-view. I did enjoy the matches, though. Storyline-wise, in some of these cases, obviously like the Survivor Series match, traditional Survivor Series match had no purpose to anything. You didn't really have any build going into it to begin with. So it didn't really serve a purpose in the end, but the match itself was actually fairly fine and good. The two semifinal matches I thought were really good. The Charlotte Paige match, I thought it built over time and it got better, especially towards the end. Tyler Breeze and Dolph Ziggler didn't really care for the story that they've come up with and how they're working with Tyler Breeze right now, but the match itself between the two of them was a fairly entertaining match. Undertaker, Kane, and the Wyatts was, well, what the match was what it was, and like I said, it was more about celebrating the Undertaker's career. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose I thought was a really good match. Was expecting the heel turn, we didn't get that, and we get a Sheamus cash in. So, overall, okay pay-per-view. I didn't really care for the ending, and we'll see where they go with everything here down the road. And that is my review for WWE Survivor Series, and I thank you guys for watching.